Welcome to another installment of the magazine. Today we are here at Bask, and we have one of the founders of Bask, Chappy Dickerson. Welcome, Chappy.
Thank you, Charlie.
So, how did this all begin?
So, it's been a dream and a goal of mine for, really my whole life. Partly because my father was in prison for a drug crime from the age of 7. I got out right before I graduated high school from Old Rochester when I was just about 18. Mm-hmm. So I've always been kind of open to, cannabis and other drugs as well. And I didn't think anybody should actually go to jail for it. And, when I was stationed in Germany, I happened to stumble upon Amsterdam about 42 times. So I got to see what cannabis, legal cannabis or regulated cannabis looked like. So I kind of had that idea right when I got home. I think I was 22. Mm-hmm. Came back December 23rd, 2001. I got back from Germany. And from there, I knew that I wanted to be in the cannabis industry. Mm-hmm. So I honed my craft, kept it going, and I had an opportunity to get a license here in Massachusetts, and I went right after it and put all my resources into it, all my time, all my effort, and a couple kids from Mattapoisett squeaked out a license in the first round, which was kind of unheard of. So.
And so you're a local person?
Yep, I'm from Mattapoisett. I've lived there pretty much my whole life. I left for 5 years, when I was in the service, so 4.5 years. And the rest of the time, I've been living at the same address where my family's been for many, many years.
And why the name Basque?
So Basque is a feeling. You can revel in it. You can bask in the glory. It's another reason too. Like my son's name is Boone, and I noticed at daycare, one-syllable names. Every kid knows one-syllable names, and so Boone was the first one everybody knew. Mm-hmm. And I look at Basque as the same thing. Like it's easy to say, it rolls off the tongue. It has a great meaning. So we stuck with it. We used it and stuck with it.
Excellent. And Basque started out as medical.
Correct. Yep. So we've actually been medical for 3 years. On the 12th of February was our 3-year birthday, and it's been great. But we definitely needed the adult use to survive. Although we have gotten busier right now with COVID, we definitely have gotten a lot busier, and there's a lot more patients. Just about a year ago, there was about 68,000 patients. Okay. There's over 100,000 right now. Wow. So it's definitely growing, and we're living in kind of an older area. Fairhaven, Mattapoisett, Marion, Rochester, even New Bedford, but it's an older population. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people start off with medical and try to find something that works for them.
So actually, COVID increased your business.
It did, yeah. We got a bump from day one. So one thing that did help us out is when they shut everything down for COVID. Medical was deemed essential. Okay. So, but adult use was shut down. So they had to shut down for about 2 months, and so a lot of those consumers turned into patients. And there's already a lot of overlap anyway. There's on the consumer side or adult use side, there's a lot of people that don't want to get their card. They don't want to be put on a list. Mm-hmm. Maybe they have their license to carry. They think that's a concern. So it was naturally medical kind of persevered.
So you're very involved in the community also.
I am, and I have been for quite a few years prior to us being Basque, being a dispensary. For Mattapoisett, on the fire department, I serve on the conservation committee. I serve on the agricultural commission, and then really because of Basque as well, I've started to do like beach cleanups. We do be the solution to pollution. Okay. So we've teamed up with a lot of local community activists, programs, and it makes us feel good. So it's nice to be able to give back. We have a platform, we can reach a lot of people. And one person can do so much, but when you have a platform where you have thousands of people, especially with social media, everything that goes along with it, you can actually make a bigger impact.
Mm-hmm. And so you started out with this being the only facility that you had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we started here in about 2017, And we knew this building was not going to be a long-term plan. It would get us up and operational, and being able to participate in the industry, but it wasn't going to last forever. So we have a second facility that is cultivation and processing, and this room used to be part of cultivation. So that's in Freetown or Sonnet.
Okay.
So we've been there about a year now. We moved on the 28th of February.
And with this being a fairly new business, how many employees do you have?
So we have 69 agents. So it's it started at 16,
Okay.
and moved very quickly. So especially in the last year, with the Freetown move, pretty much a 5 times the size facility.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to expand pretty quickly then. And then in this facility, now that we have, I like to call it, 2 storefronts. We have the medical and adult use. We have about 24 employees right here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's getting up there.
Great. And what's the future?
So the future, we want to do the best we can here. This is it's a very good place to have a business. I like that it's 4 minutes from my house, so right in Mattapoisett. But we're allowed to have 2 more storefronts.
Okay.
So we've been going after a license in Taunton for about 2 years now. So that's a possibility, and then we have the ability to have 1 more at some location. We don't know. Haven't identified a place yet.
Okay.
I do know that I don't want to leave the South Coast.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. We're from here. Just everybody in the company is from southeastern Massachusetts. So I'd like to stick around here and just strategically put them, in lower Bristol and Bristol County.
Okay. And what are your hours of operation?
So right now, we opened, we had a 4-stage opening plan.
Okay.
So we didn't have a choice on what our hours were. So we had to open from 10 to 6. And we've been open for medical from 10 to 6, for the last 3 years, 7 days a week. April 1st, we're going to go to 10 to 7 because we're in phase 3 of our opening right now.
Okay.
So we'll open from 10 to 7. Special permit-wise, we're allowed to be open 9 to 9 right now. But we just, we don't see that being needed right now, nor do we have the staff. You talk about adding, multiple hours, longer days. That's a lot more staff. So we're still, in the middle of hiring to supply the 10 to 7, 10 to 6. So, it's going to be a little bit before we can stay open to 9, if we ever do that. So I'm not really sure if it's going to be worth, staying open till 9, especially this area. Everybody's in bed by 8 anyway. So that's not, I don't know if it'll be necessary.
Well, I'll tell you, I felt very safe and secure coming in here today because I was questioned as to why I was here, and they treated me very respectfully, and I just want to let you know that the process is very smooth if any potential customer wants to come here, and I felt very safe, like I said, and I'm sure that other people have the same feeling.
Well, you can thank Gary Souza for that. So most people know Gary from town, was the chief of police for years. I like to throw in, he was also the 2009 Man of the Year. But really, he's the man of the century. He's totally polished. He knows everything in and out. Likable person, fair, treats everybody equal. And we're fortunate to have him on our team.
Well, it's very fortunate to have the former police chief of our town as your security guy. He's a great guy. You're right. You got a gem with Gary Souza.
It's fits in for us, like just being local. And he actually came to us and wanted to work for us, which was awesome at the time.
Great. So, anything else a customer should know when they come here?
So we have a lot of people that show up without an ID, which is an issue. We need to have a valid government-issued ID that has a date of birth on it. So that's one of the most important things. So if you're a patient, you also have to have a medical card that's registered with the CCC. On the adult use side, you need a passport, a state ID, a driver's license, and that's all you need for that. But it does need to be valid.
Okay. And you have to be 18 or 21?
No, you got to be 21. Okay. I am waiting for the time, they want to treat it like alcohol. Employee-wise, you have to be 21 as well.
Okay.
But I do hope that one day they kind of open it up because, you can be an 18-year-old bartender.
Right.
I think that would expand who we can hire here. Might give people a little direction, maybe a career projector, So hopefully in the future that'll change.
Well, Chappy, I thank you for your time today, and I'd like to just say that I wish you the best of luck here with this storefront and with the future storefronts to come.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we've heard from the CEO of Bask, Chappy Dickerson, and now we're here with the president of Bask, Tim Keogh. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
So tell us your version of how Bask was created and started. I'm sure it's similar, but maybe we missed some of that.
Yeah, no, certainly. So we got together. I've known Chap since middle school. So I grew up in Marion. He grew up in Mattapoisett. So we went to Old Rochester together. So I've known him for a number of years. He was involved in the medical marijuana program down in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And so that was kind of my entry into the cannabis industry was with Chap down in Rhode Island. I was more on the advocacy side, so working with the State House, helping to craft regulations, lobbying on behalf of patients.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2012, Massachusetts had the ballot initiative, and we said, well, wouldn't it be great to provide safe, regulated access to medical cannabis in the area that we grew up in?
Exactly.
And to have the most meaningful impact, we, obviously targeted the greater New Bedford area. Our initial application was actually in New Bedford. Based on the strength of that application, we didn't win, but we were invited to reapply. And so in our reapplication is how we landed here in Fairhaven, in the old lottery building, as it's commonly referred to, which was a 10,000 square foot building. So it was arguably too large for a dispensary and too small for a long-term cultivation facility. So for those that have been to the facility, the front half of the building is where the dispensary is, and our initial cultivation and product manufacturing activity happened back here, so in the back half of the building. We've recently moved that to Freetown, and so there have been quite a few changes over the last couple years, but it really started out of where we saw an opportunity and a need for medical cannabis, and then it's evolved into a rapidly growing company that's now doing adult use and medical.
So several-year process, though.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we started, secured the initial permit in 2014 from the state, went to the town, got our special permit 2015, then had to go raise capital, build out the facility. It was a dilapidated structure, so invested quite a bit into the infrastructure, and finally got operational in the building in June of 2017. So it's been a series of milestones along the way, and it's often met with the question of like, okay, well, what's next? But
well, what is next?
yeah, so we started cultivating in 2017. We opened for patients in 2018. We moved the cultivation facility in just about a year ago, so February of 2020, right before all the shutdowns, and so we were fortunate to have that done. And then, last month, at the end of February, we opened for adult use, and so that's really kind of we're 2 weeks, 3 weeks into that next chapter. So we want to scale that business up and help get the word out and build this, and then we have another application that's been approved by the state for a dispensary up in Taunton.
So you did not shut down during COVID because of the medical necessity?
Correct, right. So the adult use recreational market, Governor Baker closed that for 2 months, but they allowed the medical cannabis operators to remain open. So we were deemed essential and continue to provide access to patients. We had to modify, obviously the customer experience. We switched everything over to order ahead. Started putting up the separations, the partitions, and all the things that we're now so accustomed to. As a company that was allowed to stay open, we had to be early adopters figure out a lot of that stuff. It's just part of the never-ending series of challenges that we've faced in the industry.
Mm-hmm. And what's the ongoing education that Basque is providing?
Yeah, so we're one of the few dispensaries that still has a dedicated patient education staff on hand. So we do a lot of phone education. So we have a patient education phone number. We call the main line. And you can get in and speak with a patient education specialist. They come from different backgrounds. They have different perspectives, but they understand how to connect the dots between what a new patient or even an experienced patient has for questions, and match that up with the products that we have available. We have a dedicated space inside the building, and that's again why we got involved in this business. And it's not something that we're walking away from now that we've got this adult use expansion.
And so how would someone get in touch with someone from Basque? Like if they wanted to set up an appointment, or they wanted to say they have a medical card and they have some questions, how would they go about doing that?
The easiest place to start, I think, would be the website. Okay. It's pretty straightforward, so it's www.cometobasque.com. And there you can find a lot of information about patient education, a lot of the products, and then all the contact information. So, the easy email address would be info@cometobasque, and then the phone number, which is 774-305-4749. And any one of those outlets, even through social media, we've got people that monitor the social media accounts. Okay. We get a lot of questions, particularly in the greater New Bedford area and the South Coast, where people are just either curious about cannabis or have very specific questions about different products or different cannabinoid ratios between products. You hear a lot about CBD, but there's CBG and CBN and THC and THCA, and so we're fortunate and blessed to have a staff that knows all of that information on a granular level, and that can help people navigate what's kind of this new emerging industry.
So say someone came in for the recreational part of this, the adult use, and they had questions like that, because some people are maybe don't have a medical card, but maybe have some anxiety issues, and would they be able to gear them to the right product?
Absolutely, yeah. That was one of the benefits of being a medical operator for a number of years, is all of our staff have had the opportunity to train, to get familiar with the products, and then our focus on education is expanded over into the adult use side. And the questions are generally the same. There's not like different products are more popular on the medical side than the adult use side, or questions are different between adult use and medical. They're all the same. It's with the exception of some potency limits on the adult use side. Cannabis is cannabis, really until it hits a point of sale.
And it's great that you have this great facility that you worked so hard at here in Fairhaven, but you actually outgrew this facility.
Yeah, we acknowledged that, or recognized that early on, that with the way that we split the building up, it was about 4,000 square feet of retail admin space, and then 6,000 square feet of cultivation and product manufacturing space. And we knew that if we wanted to be relevant long term, that we needed additional cultivation capacity to be able to support our patients and the growing market, produce a variety of products that our patients and now adult use consumers are demanding. And we could only do so much within this footprint. And so the expansion into the Freetown project with a state-of-the-art purpose-built greenhouse has given us that space to grow. Some pun intended, but it really, we filled this space up very quickly, and now even over in Freetown, we're already starting to get a little uncomfortable space-wise. So we're looking at the next phase of expansion out there as we continue to grow and build a company, but it all started right here.
All started here. Yeah. And I remember a few years back being a visitor here and going through the whole process with a big suit on and everything. white hazmat suit, and just so to keep everything clean, pre-COVID, of course, and I remember the detail that goes into every part of the growth process. Everything is detailed, registered, logged in, followed through from, beginning to end. I mean, you have a very good system, and it's very detailed.
Thank you. Yeah, it's there's a lot that the state requires, and then based on those regulations, there are certain operational changes that we need to adapt to be able to, consistently produce cannabis. And Massachusetts has some of the most stringent regulations in the United States. From the testing standards, but also the security, the tracking, compliance, and it's organizing all of those various components that kind of helps. Well, that's how we thread the needle and keep the operation moving and growing. But yeah, it's a pretty dynamic process, and we've grown into it. And when we started, I think we had 13 employees, and now I think we're approaching 70. And we're focused on, hiring from the local community. We have a commitment to help serve the communities that have been disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. So there's a social justice component to it, and that really is the piece on the adult use side. Whereas we look at the medical side with patients, of how we can help impact and better our community.
So describe some of the social justice programs that you participate in.
Yeah, so a big part of what we're doing is just trying to hire from communities that have been disproportionately impacted. And so the state has identified certain communities and then categories of individuals that fall within those programs that we target. So New Bedford, Fall River, and Taunton are all three communities that qualify. Mm-hmm. So we have focused, in addition to the Fairhaven community and the South Coast, also moving out into New Bedford and then Fall River for the hiring that we can do. We've also partnered with it's called the Last Prisoner Project, which is an organization. It's a nonprofit where we've actually been at the point of sale collecting donations for that, and that's really a focus on ending ending prohibition and kind of righting some of the wrongs as it relates to people that have been incarcerated based on the war on drugs.
Okay, and what is the future for Basque?
So I think we're excited about entering the summer, getting out of the winter with the addition of adult use. We're excited about the growth prospects that we have with the cultivation. Product manufacturing space out in Freetown. We've got another license that, as I stated, we're been approved by the state for up in Taunton. And for us, it just makes a nice little southeastern Massachusetts bubble for us with Fairhaven, Taunton, and Freetown. But we have an idea of where we're heading. We have a direction, but things change as we saw last year, and we just remain adaptive and work to continue to build the company.
Well, we had mentioned in the previous interview with Chappy that the security is very well taken care of here by our former police chief Gary Souza, and so people feel very safe when they come here, and it's a very smooth operation.
No, thanks. Yeah, I mean, we work hard at delivering that, and obviously, I think from day one is what we talked to the town about was, being a quiet success in Fairhaven. We sit across from the solar farm across the street that provides benefit and doesn't really detract from really anything. And so we did that with medical. I think we're seeing that play out with adult use. That these facilities they're normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill, on some level, kind of boring operations from the outside. From the inside, it's a fascinating industry, and there's a ton of opportunity, and it's exciting. But when you get down to it, we really are providing safe access to products that, prior to us opening, people were accessing, on the illicit market or in other parts, in other communities within the Commonwealth, and now we're just able to centralize that and do it here out of our facility, provide the tax revenue to Fairhaven, and really, hopefully, not impact anyone. And unless you're a customer, you may not even know that we're here.
Exactly, and I'll tell you that many people have been helped by the services of, especially from the medical side, and you've touched a lot of people's lives and given them a lot of hope and a lot of decreased anxiety and just a whole bunch of other elements that came with the opening of Basque. So I thank you for being a part of this community, and I wish you great success in the near and far future.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, thanks.
Fall River has traditionally been in the forefront of honoring members of the armed forces. Please assist in the mission to complete our Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall. The names of approximately 58,300 American heroes will appear on the aluminum panels. Black granite pavers may be purchased to memorialize those who proudly served. We welcome you to be part of this once-in-a-lifetime project. To make a donation, order an individual paver, and see future announcements, please visit VietnamMemorialWall.org or connect with us on Facebook. 100% of your donation goes toward construction and perpetual care of the healing wall. Committee members expect a formal dedication in the spring of 2021. The spirit of this cooperative effort is of value to us all.